Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of Gentlemen's Club Whiskey. I am your host, Marc Antomattei, and I'm so saddened to be doing this review again. I had initially did this review back in 2017 and put it up over on the Gentlemen's Club YouTube channel. And instead of migrating over that old review to the Gentlemen's Club Whiskey channel, which I didn't like that old review, I'm just going to delete that altogether. So I re-recorded a new review just for this whiskey. And then at the very end of it, after I hit the stop button and I hit the stop button on my audio recording, it turns out that I had some audio drops and my audio file was corrupted. So the whole review that I had just recorded just minutes prior to me speaking now has just completely gone down the trash. So it means that I have to record this review for a third time now. And I have already drinking about 3 drams of whiskey at this point in time. And now I'm doing this review yet again. So forgive me if I'm a little bit smiley and a little bit tipsy now, but this is my 4th dram that I'm going to have today. And this is my 3rd time recording this. So today I have 2 bottles in hand. This one right here in my right hand, this is the Kirin Fuji Gotemba Distillery Limited 2017 Distiller Select Single Malt Whiskey. But today we are actually going to be reviewing the Limited Kirin Fuji Gotemba Distillery 2017 Distiller Select Single Rich Grain Whiskey. Now that is a mouthful right there. And I bought the half-size bottle, which is a 200 milliliter size bottle. There is a full-size bottle available, which could be anywhere between, I think it's like 500. It might be 700 milliliters. I don't know. I would have to double check on that. But I bought this half-size bottle in the case of if I don't like the full-size bottle, I wouldn't have to be relegated to spending so much money and having to worry about having to finish this full-size bottle. So this one is a little bit more risk-free for me. Anyways, I'm going to be reading my review out of my book, 50 Japanese Whiskeys Tasted in Japan. This book is a product of the summer of 2020. Even though I had initially reviewed this whiskey back in 2017, and I written down my tasting notes inside of this book from my tasting in 2017. So out of the 50 Japanese whiskeys, this is entry number 14. And here it is right here. I'm going to read an excerpt. I'm going to read the body of my review, as well as the tasting notes that I have down here at the bottom. And then I'll let you know what I think about it now in 2021, 3 years after the fact of me tasting this for the first time. So reading now, I wrote, I bought this whiskey along with the next entry on my visit to the Kirin Fuji Gotemba Whiskey Distillery on November 7th this same year. This same year meaning 2017 when I wrote this. They are both limited releases. While I haven't been back to the distillery, I'm sure they probably release this one annually. Most likely they just slap an updated label on it with the current year. Although they did have full-size bottles available, I recall them being expensive, and I didn't like much of what I tasted at the distillery bar for a variety of other reasons. For those reasons, I didn't want to chance it and just bought the 200 milliliter size bottles for both. Both are no age statement whiskeys with a very light color to them. Whether that color is natural or caramel coloring, I do not know. The single grain had a delightful aroma right from the opening of the screw top. ABV-wise, it is an intense whiskey, so I added some water to dilute it as not to burn my taste buds. If you ever have a chance of picking this one up, don't. this is more of a pass because it's very immature and has no substance to it. The palate is a great part of the experience of drinking whiskey, and on the palate, you want instant gratification from the moment it touches your tongue. And this doesn't give that to me. I'm going to tell you right now, I disagree with a few of my words inside of the body. I wrote that this is not worth picking up. For how much Japanese whiskey costs now, even intra-Japan, it's so expensive here that for the price I paid for this 2,160 Japanese yen, or if you pay double that price for the full-size bottle, that's a very affordable price for Japanese whiskey. And it is worth picking up for reasons twofold. One, if you were to buy this bottle as a visitor to Japan and you bring it back to your country of origin, you could easily sell this at double the price of what you paid for it, if not more, because you would be setting the market price because there's not that many to go around in whatever country that you're in right now. So you can easily make back your money from this. Second thing is, I think it is worth drinking now, as in the review that had just got canned because of the audio droppings and the audio corruption, I said in that video, this has grown on me. Whether the taste has changed on this because of how long it has been sitting inside of this bottle for 3 years, or because of me having a more experienced tongue 3 years after the fact of when I reviewed this initially, for whatever reason, it tastes better now. So I would recommend going ahead and getting this. Let me pour my final dram of this, and let's hope that this is the last time that I have to do this, because if I have to do this again, I'm pretty much going to be drunk by the end of this. Like I said, the ABV is way too strong at 52% ABV, so I need to add a little bit of water to this to dilute it. Let's swirl this around just a bit. Blow those fumes off of it. The smell is entirely maple, like you would expect with a grain whiskey. Grain whiskeys usually have a sweet smell to them, which is why I love the smells of bourbon so much. That's a beautiful smell. That's very sweet. Just spilled some on myself there. Happens when you're getting a little bit tipsy like that, but okay. Sweet and maple. Let's go ahead and test out the palate real quick. I wrote it has light grains and faint maple, which I still attest to this day. For a whiskey with such strong alcohol content, the taste is just too light. It's almost as if it has no taste at all. Let's say I take that back where I said it almost has no taste at all. The taste is there. It is very light, but that maple is there. And the aftertaste, surprisingly, it does have a very pleasant lingering aftertaste. Buttery, smooth maple. The butter is not so much like a butter type texture residue that it would leave on the mouth of your the walls of your mouth, but more like just a buttery type of taste, aftertaste. All in all, this is a very good whiskey. Very good, that's a little bit excessive, but it is a very passable and good whiskey that I would recommend you get, contrary to whatever I may have said inside of my book. Just a change of heart, either due to time or the time of sitting in bottle, or your experience has gone up in tasting. Either or, it's worth getting. Very nice. I agree with a majority of what I said on the tasting notes, but in the body of my review about it's not worth buying, I kind of recant that a little bit. Go ahead and get it if you were to ever come to Japan and visit this distillery. Definitely worth it, either for your bank account or for your taste buds. All right, gentlemen, salute to you wherever you may be out in the world. Make sure that you drink responsibly, and as always, you know what to do. Keep it classy.